Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. So like with many others, I picked up Path of Exile 2, and it's pretty fun, and I'm playing a witch, as you could see, and I noticed a lot of people were kind of having trouble getting the ball rolling, so I thought I would just share my basic leveling build here. Before we get into the actual build, I want to show you some footage so you can see if you like it or not. It's not quite a walking simulator, but it's pretty close. You do cast some abilities here and there, but you might be able to tell that it's a pretty passive build and it relies more on your minions clearing everything for you. So we have skeletons, spirits, we have fire everywhere, and we have some buffing that you can do. I was able to get through all 3 acts in the first run, just decimating every boss like you just saw. And I was also able to do my Act 3 Ascendancy, which I hear people are having trouble with. So it's very strong offensively, but admittedly kind of squishy in some instances, but there's some things you can do to fix that as well, which I'll show. I just started my second run through with similar success, so I wanted to share what I had so far with you here. So if this looks like you would have fun with it, keep watching because I'll tell you all about it. But before all of that, I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor for this video, and that's Boot.dev. Boot.dev is a platform for anyone looking to master backend web development, and it's designed to keep you engaged by taking cues from game design. You'll find courses that teach you backend web development using Python and Go, right from the basics to more advanced concepts. The lessons are designed such that you're not just passively learning, but you're actually coding, which is the best way to learn. And the reason why I keep working with them is that their mission is to make coding as engaging as possible by making it very RPG-like, which I think will resonate really well with a lot of you. It has levels to complete and achievements to unlock, and because it's also self-paced, you can learn at your own speed. If you get into trouble, they have both an AI to help as well as an active Discord community to guide you through whatever concept you're struggling with. And they also offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo for every course. So if it interests you, you can also try it risk-free. Click the link in the description and use my code to get 25% off your first payment, which is 25% off either your first month or your first year, depending on which plan you choose. Anyways, let's first start with the core abilities, and then after that we'll do the support gems. And a little tip before we start, and this was a lifesaver for me, but instead of scrolling through all of these gems, click the All Gems tab on the bottom and then just search them, because it saves you a ton of time. So you'll get these throughout your leveling. It isn't in any order, so just put them on your bar when you get a high enough level skill gem. But first off, you're going to want to start with the Skeletal Warrior on your Scepter. These guys are mainly going to be your meat shields. Their damage drops off pretty quickly as you level, but it's nice to have cannon fodder on the front lines. And your real damage dealers are going to be the Arsonists. These guys are very powerful, lobbing grenades from the back and dealing AoE fire damage. And if you use your command ability on low health targets, which are highlighted by red, you can also detonate them. And if you don't know yet, these adds are summoned as an aura, and they take up a stat called Spirit. So the more Spirit you have, the more you can summon, so that's a very important stat, but we'll save that for the gearing section later. You're going to want to get Pain Offering as well. This sacrifices one of your minions to buff all of the rest, and as you would guess, you'd want to use this preferably on your frontliners, your warriors. It puts them on a spike that has its own health, and it is attackable, so it can go down really quickly if enemies are hitting it. And these next 2 abilities work in conjunction with each other. First is Raging Spirits, which is another aura that costs Spirit. And the way it works is that your fire spells also summon Raging Spirits, which are these little balls that go around attacking enemies for a short while before they just despawn. You're going to want to pair this with Flame Wall, which will summon quite a few of them, and also cause any projectile thrown through it to deal more fire damage. And much later, and you'll probably get these in Act 3, but you also want Flammability, which is an AoE circle that increases fire damage taken by enemies. Pretty straightforward. Your primary damage is fire here, of course. And eventually, you also want to get just one Skeletal Storm Mage, strictly because it uses shock damage, which debuffs enemies with even more damage taken. If you command these guys on dead skeletons, they'll also turn them into static ground, which will debuff everything in it. So getting to all of this stuff takes a little bit of leveling. In the meantime, I just stuck with those scorpions that you get from Unearth and the skeletal warriors and just the default wand, honestly, and I was fine. I think I also used Contagion maybe, but I will say that this build really picks up when you get those arsonists, so just try to hang on until then. As for support runes, for your warriors, go ahead and grab Last Gasp, which gives an extra 4 seconds of life after their health gets reduced to 0. And you also want Meat Shield so they deal and take less damage. Dealing less damage isn't a big deal because, again, these guys mainly exist for, well, Meat Shields. Or Bone Shields, I guess. For the Arsonists, I have Scattershot, so they throw 3 bombs per salvo instead of 1. I have Fire Infusion for more damage. And once you unlock your 3rd slot, I went with Martial Tempo for 25% attack speed. These 3rd slots are unlocked by getting a consumable item that very rarely drops from enemies. For Raging Spirits, we want Feeding Frenzy, which makes them deal and take more damage. And in this case, taking more damage is a non-issue since they aren't attackable anyways, at least as far as I know. And Execute is also nice just for more damage against targets with low health, and I also gave them Bullseye because it gives them more accuracy rating. For Pain Offering, go ahead and grab Expanse to give it a bigger radius, and also Font of Blood to make it heal everything so it can stay up for as long as possible. For Flame Wall, go ahead and grab Arcane Tempo for cast speed, and also Fortress to make it into a circle since it has more coverage. For Flammability, you want Heightened Curse to make it more potent, and for Storm Mage, grab Controlled Destruction to deal more ailment damage, and Conduction for shock chance. And as for the skill tree, this is what I have so far. It's pretty standard for witches right now, from what I understand. You can find this on the internet already, but I focused mainly on offense to just melt stuff down as fast as possible. I follow that old, the best defense is the best offense strategy, and I just try to kill everything before it has a chance to attack. So I just did minion damage all the way up. And for the stat nodes, I have a mix of dexterity, intellect, and strength, strictly for gear and gem requirements. The gems you're using primarily require intellect, of course, and I like to use pretty heavy gear to compensate for my lower defenses, so that means you also want some extra dexterity and strength for that. I then go up and to the right for minion life and damage. It's important to not neglect minion life because although you can control them with tilde, they're very dumb and can die easily by standing and stuff, so you have to sort of compensate for that. And after that, I go left and down, grabbing even more minion damage, crit chance, and then up and to the left, there's more minion damage and resistance. Grab this jewel socket to the northwest. I have a crit chance gem in there. You'll loot these as you level up, so just use the best one that you have. And to the right we have a lot of minion stuff. I chose to focus more on the damage, but there is also life here. If you want, you can also go defensive here if you feel like your minions are dying too fast. But like I said, I'm just mainly all damage all day. And also to the southwest, as you can see, I'm working towards some more minion goodness, so lots of good levels coming up. So, as far as the gearing is concerned, since this is just a leveling build, I won't focus on Ascendancy, as it changes what stats that you're looking for, but it will also share some of the stats that you want. So for offensive stance, you're mainly going to want minion levels to make them more powerful, and anything that increases spirits so you can summon more of them. I use those scepters that just gave you the skeleton warriors for free. By doing this, you don't need to spend spirit on them, which frees up more room for arsonists, so definitely prioritize that and try to get some spirit and minion levels while you're at it. Only certain armor pieces can get certain stats. Minion levels, I believe, only proc on helmet and scepter, and spirit you can get on scepter, chest, and amulet. Don't quote me on that though, but these are all the highest priority on those pieces, so even if they're blue items, you want to check them. And for defensive stats, you just want to grab whatever you can. As long as you're hanging in the back and letting your minions take the brunt of everything, you can kind of skate by with just basic stuff like life, resistances, energy shield, armor, evasion. Like I said, I went through all 3 acts with mainly offensive points in my tree. There were moments where I felt like I was a little too squishy. That's probably an inefficiency on my part because I was using a wand with a scepter, but from what I hear, you want to go scepter and shield instead because it makes you way more tanky. And aside from getting all of this gear from the ground, definitely make sure you check out the vendors whenever you're in town because they can offer good items. And if you happen to get a blue with one of the stats, go ahead and use an orb of augmentation to try to roll the other one. Blue items can have a maximum of 2 stats, and rares can have 6. So some people, if they get a good blue, they'll upgrade it to rare, and then they'll use exalted orbs on it, which you can do if you want, but they're kind of the currency right now, so I personally would only do that if you hit a brick wall and you're desperate. So for the playstyle, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to want to stick behind your skeletons and just let them do all of the work. Your minions will auto-summon back after dying after a short period of time, so if they get wiped, just focus on living and waiting it out. You want to use Flame Wall a couple times every 5 to 6 seconds or so to keep your Raging Spirits up, and you also want to sacrifice a warrior, preferably on cooldown, to keep everybody buffed up and healed. And later on you want to throw down your flammability when you get it, just to debuff everything, but honestly, at a certain point, you really only need to use it for the rare mobs and the bosses since everything dies so fast. So all of this wasn't getting into Ascendancy, and I don't know about Blood Mage, so I can't really say anything for that. But as an Infernal, I believe what people are going for right now is this node right here, which converts life to spirit. This one is really good because not only are you increasing your survivability, but also your damage since you can summon more minions. So in this case, you want to also prioritize added life, which I believe can be on any piece of gear. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think you want to chase that pretty heavily. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you. It's a really fun build, and I definitely recommend trying it out. This is my very first Path of Exile video ever, so excuse me if it's a little rough around the edges. I'm still learning a lot myself, but I just thought I'd share what I knew on the chance that it could help anyone out there. If I do have any errors, feel free to point them out in the comments so other people know. And of course, read through those as well before committing to anything, because I'm sure this isn't optimized fully and other people will probably have some good advice. If you guys want to see more Path of Exile videos, let me know because I'm definitely down for that. I'm really enjoying this game so far, so I would love to make more. But aside from that, like the video if you liked it, because I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.